A Reform UK candidate has been accused of flouting election laws with illicit campaigning leaflets. We're going to read into this more from Byline Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Byline Times with the headline, "The Reform UK candidate has been accused of flouting election laws with illegitimate campaigning leaflets." The exclusive reveals that police confirm that they are investigating allegations of potential electoral breach by a Reform UK candidate. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Now, first and foremost, I can already hear people screaming, "But Regan, he didn't get in anyway, so why does it matter?" Of course it matters. It matters if there are any candidates breaking the laws and not following the rules in any way, shape or form. And it applies to any political party, regardless of whether they got in or didn't get in. Well, whatever political party, whatever constituency it's in, everyone has to follow the laws. Everyone has to follow the laws. And it looks like here that this candidate did not follow the rules in any way, shape or form. Now, obviously, we'll read a bit more into it as it goes along. But we obviously know that a lot of Reform candidates were found to have been transphobic, racist, made abhorrent, disgusting comments. And a lot of them did get dropped by Nigel Farage's Reform UK party. Company, not party, sorry. We know they hit it. But some of them did not get dropped. Because of they passing the deadline of not being able to replace those candidates in time for some of the seats that they got in as well. So I think that's really important context to add. So a lot of them was dropped by Reform UK, by some of them. But this obviously, whether or not anything more will be made of this is obviously probably not going to get blown up because this was a candidate that obviously didn't get in, and the chances are that probably by the end of this candidate will probably get told to hide in the shadows and not stand or anything because of his past comments. Though purely speculation, but let's have a read. Let's see what exactly this Reform UK candidate do exactly. That is the face of the man. So Merseyside Police are investigating a Reform UK candidate accused of breaching election law after distributing campaign leaflets without crucial transparency information, Byline Times can reveal. So Ken Ferguson, who stood for Reform UK in the Wirral West constituency and came third, allegedly sent out leaflets missing the required imprint, details of who printed and promoted the material, sparking concerns over transparency and legality. Ferguson won 6,422 seats, easily keeping his deposit with 13% of the vote. But local resident Michael Thomas sounded the alarm after receiving one of the questionable leaflets at his Hoylake home on the 24th of June. He immediately reported it to the Merseyside Police, kicking off a frustrating saga of buck passing between authorities. "In the mind, it's clearly illegal," Thomas told Byline Times, adding that voters deserve to know who officially behind the campaign materials landed on their doorstep. The representation of the People's Act of 1983 requires all election materials to carry an imprint, with hefty fines for those who flout the rules. Despite clear guidance from the Electoral Commission that local police should handle such cases, Merseyside Police initially dismissed the complaint. After persistent follow-ups from Thomas, officers finally investigated, but Thomas suggested that they seem intent on downplaying the issue. This raises the question of why would they not be taking this issue more seriously? What's the reason for them not to be looking at this issue? That doesn't really add up to me. Like, why would the police not want to look into this issue? Like, it's still, like, regardless of, again, like I said, if this had been any other party, regardless, like, you would treat this the same way. Any other potential law breaking, you would treat it the same. So why did the police not push on this? The police allegedly told the complainant it was just a minor issue with only a small fine and a couple of £100. However, failure to include illegally required imprinted details is a breach of the Section 110 of the Representation of the People's Act of 1983, the penalty of which is currently an unlimited fine. The police also initially appeared to suggest it was a matter for the Electoral Commission, which has no enforcement powers in this area. Resident Michael Thomas told his outlet on the 5th of July that 2 coppers turned up at my house about the report. I was out with my wife but my wife gave them the leaflet and spoke to them on the phone. I pointed out the unlimited fines there were not minor issues and they were a serious matter. They said they would discuss it with their sergeant and he would decide if it was in the public interest to do anything. A spokesperson for Merseyside Police said, inquiries are ongoing in relation to the matter and we will update you when we can. The candidate, Ken Ferguson, told Byline Times, I have nothing to say on it. Another local voter reportedly seen later leaflets with printers and promoters stomped on at the bottom, suggesting a last-minute effort to comply with the law. Okay, so it seems like at the time, when it was all getting he was trying to blow it up. He obviously changed his tune to get the information in, but he was already putting it out there when he wasn't following the rules. The controversy comes as Reform UK faces wider scrutiny over its election practices. The outlet has reported extensively on invisible candidates with an ultra-generic campaign material. Yeah, some of their candidates, so-called candidates, were potentially made up or photoshopped faces and whatnot. AI sort of thing, and a bit weird sort of thing. Like, it's not that hard to get the candidate's face on there. It was a bit weird that kind of stuff was quite weird, if I'm honest. So-called paper candidates from parties are common in no-hope contests, but the number of Reform candidates for whom no information can be found about them online appears to be unprecedented in recent times. A Reform UK spokesperson was also contacted for comment. Yeah, it's time for reform, and yeah. So some of there was a video I saw I came across where somebody basically similar to this, but it had like number, had the email, had an address of where this constituent of this candidate was, and she couldn't find the person. The number didn't go anywhere, and the email never got a response on an email. So there was some candidates who were literally ghosts, complete and utter ghosts, that still got votes. Very weird. Electoral Commission guidance is clear that on printing election materials such as leaflets and posters, you must include the name and address of the printer, the promoter, and any person on behalf of whom the material is being published and who is not the promoter. The promoter is whoever caused the material to be published. It also includes an address where the promoter can be contacted. Other voters have expressed their frustration at police forces' reluctance to investigate election complaints. Katie O'Connor, a voter in Oxford, told Byline Times that last year she was involved in a lengthy 9-month process after making complaint to her local police about an alleged breach in electoral law. I had to be dodged in pursuing this, and it was only resolved the law was broken and it was the police jurisdiction after a reporter contacted the police to verify the situation. All I have to say is if local police take forward these if local people take forward these complaints to the police, they may need to back up to achieve, even accept that there is a police issue. They don't seem to know or want to know that is their role, she said of Thames Valley Police. Voters and candidates have 21 days to bring forward election petitions to challenge the results. However, the system is rarely used. Yeah, that's, whether or not, obviously, like, the thing is, I know, obviously, there were issues around postal voting, which may or may not make a difference to certain outcomes, potentially. I know there's been that up in Scotland, obviously, as well, because it was widely reported up there. There was some reports here in the UK, in other parts in the UK, in England as well. I don't recall any in Wales, but there may have been as well. Has there been enough in this election to justify that this has been a lot of rigging? I would say not enough based on the system that we have, even though it's not a fair democratic system because of our first past the post system. But I do say that it is unfair, the system that we have to tactically vote for in favour of those who we want to be. I don't think it's right that we should have to have voter ID as well. Now, as for this candidate, Ken Ferguson, the fact of the matter is the police obviously are still saying they're still very in the investigation. Okay, so whether the Byline Times will give us will let us know the outcome of it, obviously will remain to be seen. And this may not be the only one. There may be other candidates, there may be other political parties that have happened this, and it probably hasn't been a thing. There was also a situation about a certain independent candidate that's come under scrutiny that beat a Labour candidate, beat a Labour MP to a seat as well, which I'll come to in another video. But it is a cause for concern, because obviously the law needs to be upheld, and people need to basically stick to the rules. Because if the moment that you start allowing one candidate or one party allowed to bend the rules or break the rules, it means that the rules no longer apply to anyone, and that pretty much anyone can freelance, because if one person can do it, everyone can do it. So the law needs to come down on him if this needs to come down on him if it is found to be true. If he has broken the electoral law, he needs to suffer the consequences of that. So that the example is set among all political parties, all candidates, all politicians, when it comes for them wanting to become MPs in the future. Regardless of where your political ideologies is, everyone has to be given a level playing field when it comes to the rules. Again, like, is the rules fair? Is the electoral system fair? Of course not. But we want a level playing field, and it clearly feels like it comes across here, especially when you're not following the rules here. It's a little bit of dodgy dealing here. Well, what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this Reform UK candidate not following the election law properly, allegedly there from that? Do you think that there was some of that happening not just with Reform, with other candidates, with other politicians or other political parties? And do you have examples of those? Let me know your thoughts and more on this story and others in the comments section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope to catch you all very, very soon.